Unlock the future of pathology with Pathology News, your ultimate source for cutting-edge insights, expert analysis, and the latest breakthroughs in digital and computational pathology. Don't just stay informed, stay ahead.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's 10 a.m. in New York and 3 p.m. here in London. Good morning and good afternoon to you wherever you are. Welcome to our webinar today, which is entitled Adapt or Fall Behind, Why the Best Labs Use AI. My name is Jonathan Tunstall. I'm from Pathology News, and together with the Pathology News team, I'm pleased to be your host for this event today. Now, as is usual for these sessions, your microphones will be muted throughout to avoid background noise, and we'll hold a question and answer session at the end of the discussion. Questions may be posted in the drop-down panel, which you will find to the right of your screens, and you may ask a question at any point during the session. We will attempt to deal with as many of those as possible following the presentation today. Now, it gives me great pleasure to introduce our speaker for today, Dr. Tiffany Chen. Dr. Chen is Chief Medical Officer with one of the leading organizations in our industry, TechSite. Dr. Chen is a board-certified anatomic pathologist and also a specialist in artificial intelligence. She holds a medical degree from the Mayo Clinic Alex School of Medicine and a master's in global medicine from the University of Southern California. She completed her anatomic pathology residency at Brigham and Women's Hospital and an NIH NCI postdoctoral fellowship in computational pathology at Harvard Medical School. Before joining TechSite, Dr. Chen led digital pathology initiatives at a cancer pharmaceutical company, driving advancements in AI-powered diagnostics. So at this point, I will hand over to Dr. Chen to begin her presentation. Dr. Chen, thank you and welcome to Pathology News.
Thank you so much for having me today. So for today's webinar, we'll cover 6 key areas. So first, we'll examine the current challenges that are facing laboratory medicine today. And then we'll explore AI as a potential solution to these challenges. We'll go over a couple case studies as well as discuss why AI adoption is no longer optional for competitive labs. And then we'll end by going over why the combination of humans plus AI really delivers the highest standard of care. And lastly, we'll have some time for your questions as well. So before we get started, I just want to introduce TechSite and TechSite Fusion to you. So TechSite is a global company founded in 2013, and we're headquartered in both the EU and the US. We have around 155 team members across 27 states and 5 countries, and we've served over 7,000 customers in 40 plus countries and have powered over 6 million AI diagnoses. Our platform supports 3 key verticals. So we have our human pathology, which includes anatomic and clinical pathology, both of which I'll cover today, veterinary medicine, and environmental testing. So today, I want to introduce TechSite Fusion. TechSite Fusion is a unified and fully integrated digital pathology platform. And we support multiple different test types, including histology to parasitology, bacteriology, cervical cytology, hematology, non-GYN cytology, and so forth. And our platform includes custom workflows and AI tools, and we have comprehensive compliance features, third-party AI algorithm integrations, reporting, and specialized integrations with both the LIS and the EHR. So we like to think of us as more than just an image management system, but something that can really give you that unified and fully integrated experience. And our goal is really simple. We want to give labs a single, fully integrated platform that brings together workflow, data, and AI. In terms of regulatory, our solutions are CE marked in the EU and UKCA certified, with multiple applications, including our platform, Trichrome solution, MAF, or modified acid-fast solution, gram stain, wet mount iodine, and our AFB and SureView cervical cytology solution. In the US, our solutions are currently for research use only, but we will be going towards the FDA clearance soon. So the lab industry is facing unprecedented challenges today, and we're seeing increasing demand for laboratory tests due to an aging and growing population. And we've also seen that working conditions can be quite strenuous and quite difficult. As you know, microscopy is tedious, slow, and prone to repetitive stress injuries and human error. For labs, we see that competition is intensifying on multiple fronts, with service quality, pricing, accuracy, and turnaround times being key metrics. Quality assurance requirements are also becoming more stringent and demanding reduced inter-operator variability and ongoing training certification. And perhaps most critically, labs worldwide are struggling to attract, train, and retain qualified technicians. And we're losing expertise through retirement while facing pressure to turn negative contribution margin tests into profitable ones. And we believe that the labor shortage truly deserves special attention. So labs worldwide are now struggling to fill microscopy-based positions due to retirement and competition from other disciplines. And as you'll see, this work is generally difficult, tedious, and requires specialized training that takes time to really develop. So now labs are expected to do more, faster, and with fewer resources while keeping quality high. And that's not a sustainable approach without introducing something new. So I'd like to show an example of what a day-to-day would look like for a lab technologist and for a pathologist. So here we see a microscopic view that a technologist would have to examine manually. So you can notice how challenging this can be to identify relevant structures among all of this debris and artifacts. And it's almost like Where's Waldo, where you're trying to find one or two cells in a sea of many. So now you can imagine doing this for hundreds of fields per day for hours every single day. And this could lead to a lot of human error. So that's where AI can come in. And as you can see, AI can help you identify cells, organisms, or structures because AI is really great at picking up patterns. So I can go into that a little bit more next about how AI is able to do that. So our solution here is introducing AI, or specifically machine learning. So machine learning is a field of computer science within AI, and this gives computers the ability to learn without having to be explicitly programmed. So this technology can address the systematic challenges that we just discussed. And there are many different methodologies in machine learning, but we primarily use convolutional neural networks, which has been specifically designed for image analysis or processing these types of pathology and histology images. So these networks process images through multiple layers, starting with feature learning through convolution and pooling operations. Then it moves to classification through fully connected layers and softmax functions. So the result is accurate identification of cellular structures and organisms like we just saw in the example. So our algorithms are trained using massive data sets. We've collaborated with data partners like the Mayo Clinic to collect hundreds of thousands of expertly tagged images. And this allows our AI to identify patterns, make predictions, and recommend actions with the highest accuracy and consistency. So here's how this works in practice. So what we see here is a gram stain. This is a typical gram stain slide with bacteria, cellular debris, and background material. So this is what our AI will see. It can distinguish and classify gram-positive cocci clusters, individual yeast cells, and other organisms with remarkable precision. And the AI has been trained on hundreds of thousands of similar images, allowing it to recognize these patterns reliably. So as you can see in this example, what AI does very well is handle repetitive, fatigue-prone tasks like detecting morphologies, quantifying cells, and classifying organisms. However, what AI does not do is replace human training or expertise. It is simply here to guide you. It doesn't make the diagnosis, it helps support you in making it instead. So before we continue, I'd like to get your input. So what concerns do you have about AI in your lab? Is it security, the decreased personal element or autonomy, learning curve, fear of losing jobs, uncertainty about capabilities, unfamiliarity with AI, or something else? Please respond using the polling feature, and then we can discuss.
Thank you for that, Tiffany. We're now showing the poll live on screen. If you could just take 10 seconds to answer that, it'd be appreciated. Thank you everyone for that. We've actually got a second poll here that I'm going to bring up on screen now as well.
So thank you so much for giving your responses. We actually see that your concerns align closely with what's been seen in published research. So a study of 342 lab professionals have found that security concerns top the list at 23.4%, followed by decreased personal element and autonomy at 23.2%. And interestingly, only around 5.2% said they were too unfamiliar with AI to have an opinion. So despite these concerns, adoption is rapidly gaining traction. So we've seen in a LabCorp survey of 115 lab medicine experts, they found that 33% of labs have already started or plan to implement digital pathology, and 31% expect AI and automation to transform lab management within 3 to 5 years. And as one pathologist noted, staffing is going to be an issue in the future, and digital pathology can help out. So why is AI no longer optional, and why does this matter right now? So the digital landscape is shifting fundamentally. We're facing staffing shortages and increasing workloads, growing complexity of diagnostics, and pressure for faster turnaround times with higher accuracy. And the data speaks for itself. So a recent study found that 85% of health systems say AI is critical to their future strategy. And according to a CAP 2023 survey, it says that 97% of pathologists believe that digital pathology will be essential within the next 5 years. And I'm sure if they were to survey people right now in 2025, that number is even higher. So it's crucial to understand that AI automates repetitive tasks and not decisions. It supports faster, more accurate diagnoses while freeing up time for complex cases, consults, and even things like tumor boards. AI doesn't make diagnoses or replace human training and expertise. And the key message here is that AI is not about replacement at all. It's about empowerment. AI will empower labs and lab professionals to deliver more value and not less. So you can see here in this 2023 survey by CAP, there's this quote that says the use of AI can alleviate the workload of pathologists by prioritizing cases and reducing manual tasks. And we truly believe in that. So next, I want to go over some real world evidence. I want to go over a couple cases of our solutions. And the first one will be a case study that comes from the Mayo Clinic with our gram stain solution. So in this case study, we do have an 80-year-old patient. They were admitted with some neurological symptoms, and their brain MRI showed a mass with a lot of swelling. And then during surgery, the pus was obtained and sent for gram stain in culture. And as you know, this process can be quite time sensitive, and culture can take a couple days to even get good results. So that gram stain slide is very important. So of the entire gram stain slide, our AI identified really only 2 small areas containing rare gram-positive bacilli amongst many, many white blood cells. So what do you think that this will represent? So AI actually found that the rare gram-positive bacilli was actually branching gram-positive bacilli that was then immediately relayed to the clinical team, and appropriate antimicrobial therapy was started. 3 days later, the culture results were ready, and that's when it confirmed that this was indeed nocardia. So thankfully, the patient was able to start antimicrobial therapy earlier because of this finding on gram stain. The patient recovered well and then was soon discharged. And this really just demonstrates AI's ability to detect critical findings that might have been missed in manual review. So let me share our formal evaluation results of our internal validation study at the Mayo Clinic. So from October 2023 to March 2024, we analyzed 530 gram stain smears from diverse sources at the Mayo Clinic. We assessed several metrics, including gram stain classification, bacterial morphology, subclassification, organism counts, and cellular elements. So in this study, we had trained technologists review our AI-generated results before coming up with a final diagnosis. And the key findings were remarkable. So the AI identified bacterial morphology missed by manual microscopy in 13% of cases. In 15% of cases, AI more accurately subclassified gram-positive cocci. And cellular elements were more frequently and accurately reported by AI in 18% of specimens. For non-lower respiratory specimens, AI-assisted interpretation was 78 seconds faster per case. In addition, agreement between human reviewers exceeded 95%, showing strong consistency. So our next solution that I want to cover is our Trichrome solution, which we also had an internal evaluation at the Mayo Clinic. So our Trichrome implementation at Mayo showed equally impressive results. So during the COVID-19 pandemic, volume increased dramatically for this test, and turnaround times extended to upwards of 2 weeks. So almost immediately after implementing our AI solution, our turnaround times decreased significantly while volumes still remained high. So the AI enabled a 5% increased positivity rate, 30-second reviews for negative samples instead of up to 5 minutes. So that's quite drastic, and triple the laboratory's testing capability and capacity. Equally important, staff satisfaction improved across multiple metrics, including performance satisfaction, job satisfaction, and reduced ergonomic strain. So we've conducted studies at the ARUP for a Trichrome fecal ova and parasite test that went into production in August of 2019. So we found that the AI's limited detection using serially diluted stool was 5-fold more sensitive than manual examinations by multiple parasitologists. We also achieved 98.9% sensitivity and 98.1% specificity at the slide level. So we showed that this gives immediate impact really at the ARUP laboratories. And this is a case that shows that AI is not just for smaller labs, but can scale to high volume reference labs while maintaining accuracy and efficiency. So in this example, for wet mount examinations of 477 specimens across 26 parasite species, we achieved 100% agreement across 20 species for positive accuracy and 100% agreement across 21 species for negative accuracy. So next, I want to show that AI can also be used in anatomic pathology. We've also tested AI for kidney transplant biopsies, and our AI was able to detect both normal and globally sclerotic glomeruli, which are important in how we evaluate transplant kidneys. So compared to manual review, AI improved concordance with expert renal pathologists by 50%, and also cut review times in half, saving up to 15 minutes per slide. So if you think about that in the context of organ transplantation, where every single minute matters, this can be quite impactful. So there's also a shortage right now of renal pathologists, which means a lot of general pathologists with limited renal training are now being asked to make these evaluations. With AI, we can not only get faster reads, but also even allow general pathologists to get expert level accuracy, which means that more kidneys get evaluated and more lives are saved. Next, I'm going to go over why it's really important to have AI, but not just AI alone. We believe that the winning formula isn't AI versus humans. It's AI plus humans. So humans excel at critical thinking, contextual awareness, and interpreting ambiguous findings. And AI excels at accuracy, consistency, and speed. So together, human and AI can save time, reduce variability, and improve both outcomes and staff well-being. So what we found is that all successful implementations of AI within labs share common elements. So these are clinically validated workflows, comprehensive trust and training programs, staff empowerment, and strong support from leadership. So our key takeaways are clear. that AI doesn't replace lab professionals, it enhances their reach, consistency, and impact. It improves performance on repetitive or fatigue-prone tasks while freeing professionals to focus on complex or ambiguous findings. And when properly implemented, AI increases case throughput, reduces variability, and can even support staff well-being. So what's next for our AI at TechSite? So looking ahead, we're expanding our capabilities. And our first one would be our acid-fast facilized solution that uses bright field microscopy-based classification to automatically identify positive AFB in samples including bronchoalveolar lavage fluid or BAL fluid, bronchial washings, sputum, tracheal secretions, and lung tissue. So this will help labs quickly identify positive cases for rapid patient care while reducing physician strain and improving reviewer consistency. We're also developing heme-fish solutions for fluorescence in situ hybridization analysis. So this technology analyzes the red and green signal patterns, and we work together with probe kits curated for specific disease states, and we can provide enumeration with threshold indicators. So key benefits here can increase lab efficiency for these tests, as well as give side-by-side comparison of digitized cells that can then help improve accuracy. We can also, like all the other examples, help with physical fatigue and eye strain that comes with viewing these fluorescent images and dots. And this is also going to make it easier for labs to train technicians because there is a guideline and standard way of using AI review. So we are hoping that this will lead to results that are delivered faster to patients as we can send our digital results directly to the LIS for reporting. So we did a study for chronic lymphocytic leukemia or CLL, and our initial results for CLL showed 84.5% microaverage sensitivity and 88.7% correctly predicted FISH patterns. So building on our heme FISH solution, this slide here shows where we're headed with broader FISH application. So FISH isn't just used in hematopathology. It's a cornerstone across many areas of clinical and research diagnostics. So for example, in perinatal and postnatal diagnostics, we can use AI-assisted FISH to analyze amniotic fluid, chorion tissue, and skin fibroblasts. In mosaic karyotyping, AI can help analyze buccal smears, skin abrasions, or even urine-derived cells. And there's also forensic and fertility applications as well. So the common theme across all of these areas is that manual FISH review is slow, repetitive, and prone to variability. So by digitizing slides, archiving them, and layering AI on top, we can create a more efficient and standardized and collaborative workflow. So now let's move on to Fusion AP. So how are we going to serve the AP market using our AI and our technology? So for us, AI is no longer just about image classification or single-use algorithms. What we're moving toward is a fully integrated end-to-end digital ecosystem that connects scanning, diagnosis, reporting, collaboration, and even ancillary services like tumor boards, research, and pharma partnerships. So our Fusion AP platform will provide a comprehensive anatomic pathology capabilities and support everything from scanning infrastructure to diagnoses to these other secondary use cases. As we wrap up the section on what's next, the slide shows how all the pieces will come together. That is the transformation of the laboratory practice through digital pathology and AI. And it starts at the very beginning with scanning and infrastructure. So high-quality digital images are the foundation. Fusion ensures that these images are converted to standardized formats like DICOM and that they're stored securely and available instantly for review. From there, we can move into the pre-diagnosis and diagnosis workflows. So this includes features like automated case routing, scan quality checks, prioritization, and subspecialty work lists that make sure that the right case gets to the right person at the right time. AI then supports the diagnostic step itself by surfacing relevant regions of interest, quantifying cells, or even highlighting things like organisms, which we saw in previous examples. And then beyond diagnosis, there are ancillary services or secondary use cases like tumor boards, research collaborations, education, and even pharma partnerships. And because everything is digital and integrated, cases can be shared globally, annotated consistently, and archived for long-term discovery. And what's powerful here is the connectivity. So Fusion is designed to integrate seamlessly with LIS, the EHR, PACS, and even radiology systems, so that pathology no longer operates in a silo. Instead, it becomes part of a diagnostic ecosystem that serves clinicians and patients more effectively. Finally, this transformation is grounded in compliance and security with things like HIPAA, SOC 2, GDPR, FDA, and CVIVDR. And these aren't just boxes we check or acronyms that we throw down. They're fundamental to building trust so labs can scale digital adoption with confidence. So when we talk about practice transformation, it's just not about digitizing slides or adding a few AI tools. It's about creating a smarter, more connected laboratory that elevates the role of pathology across the entire healthcare system. So now I want to talk about the AI-powered future. So we know that no single lab and no single company can build all the AI tools that the world and pathologists will ever need. Pathology is way too diverse, with each subspecialty requiring its own set of algorithms and workflows. And that's why we built out an AI marketplace. We've built Fusion to be an open environment for AI hosting. Whether the model is developed by TechSite, co-developed with partners like the Mayo Clinic, or built by third parties, it can all be integrated into a single workflow. So we've already proven this concept with TechSite developed AI, which includes solutions that we've covered today within organ donation analysis, within clinical pathology and microbiology, and even within cervical cytology. We also have Mayo co-developed AI, where we have tools such as melanoma mitosis detection, epidermis rotation, and inflammatory cell quantification. And for things like third-party AI or homebrew AI, we've been able to integrate them in with Ki-67 quantification or stain detection QC. This can all be seamlessly added as well. And as you can see on the left-hand side, these are all the third-party AI companies that we're working with today to help incorporate and bring in their algorithms into our Fusion platform. And this list will only continue to grow as we see more and more AI companies come into our industry today. So what makes this powerful is a single integration point. So now with one API, labs can access a broad range of AI tools without having to juggle multiple platforms or vendors. And then the results will be delivered in standard formats like DICOM, making them interoperable with LIS, EHR, and PACS systems. So the value of an AI marketplace is in its flexibility. So as new algorithms are developed, labs can adopt them quickly, test them in real workflows, and scale them without rebuilding their infrastructure. And ultimately, this model ensures that labs will always have access to the best tools available, whether they come from TechSite, our partners, or any other innovator in the ecosystem. So the evidence is clear. AI in laboratory medicine is not just beneficial, it's becoming essential for competitive, high-quality lab operations. And these labs that adapt now will lead the industry, while those that wait risk falling behind. So now I'd like to open the floor to your questions. So please use the Q&A feature to submit any questions, and I'll address as many as we can in our remaining time. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany. Thank you for an excellent presentation. Just looking here, we've had quite a few
Jonathan,
questions.
I think you're currently on mute. Tiffany, are you with us?
Yes, sorry about that.
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay, good. All right. So we've had quite a few questions come in. First question, Tiffany, can AI replace tests such as Oncotype or MammaPrint?
Yes, that's definitely a great question. I would say today, not quite. So these tests like Oncotype and MammaPrint are more for prognostic gene expression assays, and they've been validated on outcomes and trials. So AI on H&E is very promising for risk and mutation prediction, but right now it's generally adjunctive right now and should be validated against outcomes before replacing molecular tests. So I would say not quite yet, but a lot of great research has been done in the field to hopefully one day be able to gain these types of insights directly from H&E.
Okay, thank you. Next question from our audience. The challenge is convincing stakeholders that AI is an investment rather than a cost. How can this be achieved?
Yes, that's definitely a great question as well. So we believe that you have to tie it to business outcomes. So that looks like reduced turnaround times, more capacity without extra headcount, the ability to do remote sign-out coverage, fewer lost broken slides, and really differentiation to win referrals from other hospitals, physicians, and to also design it out so that you can really show that you're going digital with AI at the same time to give you the best possible ROI. And then to also use case studies and other examples that have been published to really show your stakeholders that AI is critical to ensuring that you get the maximum value out of it.
Okay, thank you. Another question here, very intriguing question actually. Do whole slide image appearances differ between racial or ethnic populations?
Yes, that's a very, very hot topic, which is looking at fairness and bias within algorithms. I think this is something that has been seen across machine learning, not even just within pathology, but also in radiology and in general at all as well. So there's actually evidence that shows that models can infer these protected attributes from images, and that there could be site and population factors that can leak into the models. So bias mitigation is very important. So that really comes down to the algorithm developers. So when it comes to diverse training data, stain scan normalization, and external testing.
Okay, thanks. Fascinating. Another good question here as well. Should reports include a disclaimer stating that AI was used?
Yes. We believe that, as AI is going to get more and more integrated into both a diagnostic and the clinical setting, I think for good practice, it's always important to be transparent to your patients. You can keep it brief, so something like AI-assisted screening was performed, but the final interpretation was by a pathologist. We think it's very important to also maintain internal documentation of your tools, versions, and validation in case any of this ever comes up.
Okay, thank you. And again, I can see there's a lot of great questions here today. Can you deploy those algorithms outside the lab where they have been developed?
Yes. So right now, a lot of these algorithms that we are developing are, in partnership with other labs, as well as being able to deploy out algorithms that have been designed and created by third-party AI vendors. So it's always important for the labs that are adopting it, if it was validated and tested in another lab, to also do your internal validation as well. So yes, we can make those algorithms available for other labs too, but an internal validation is still needed.
Okay, great. Next question here. How is generative AI currently being used by pathologists in a clinical setting?
I can actually field that one. First of all, hi, I'm Troy Benson. I'm VP of Marketing for TechSite. Generative AI in general is being used for several things, from actual standardized reporting, suggested structured narrative for findings, and even drafting diagnostic notes that pathologists can validate. It's also used for case data, image, lab results, and unifying those. It's been using for discovery and validation. as well as admin. And within our platform, the third-party capability of integrating AI does also enable this within the platform, and there are companies that we're working with today to integrate that offer some of these functionalities as well.
Okay, thank you. Next question. How should laboratories validate AI systems, and what level of concordance between AI and manual cytology screening would be acceptable?
Good question. Well, actually, Tiffany, do you want to take this one?
Oh, sure. I was just going to say that for any in-service validations of an AI cytology system, the goal really is to show that it performs no worse than manual screening. So that's typically, you have like a pair design, you can run your own studies where the same slides are read manually, and then with AI assistance, with the washout period in between, you can use diverse set of cases with diverse diagnoses, and then you can set just like a non-inferiority margin up front. Then you can compare this sensitivity and specificity. So the CAP, so College of American Pathologists, usually suggests around 60 cases for diagnostic validation. Though for cytology, you may need more to capture enough of these positives. So you just want to design it like any lab validation, having representative cases, clear metrics, and human sign out. And this is just to show that the AI is at least equivalent to your current standard. So for concordance, we're aiming for, around greater than or equal to around 95% overall concordance between digital AI review and GLASS. So that's typically the CAP benchmark the labs watch for. And again, this is still dependent on the type of test and assay that you're trying to compare. So for screening tasks like cytology, you also want to show that there's non-inferior sensitivity and specificity to your current manual process.
And so laboratories, while we're not able to actually propose the protocols, we can help with best practices and published papers that have already been put out on this. And there was actually another question that asked about validations and there being limited published evidence. And I just wanted to mention that we're currently, yes, working on our FDA studies that will be published that will illustrate the performance of the system. And there are two different kind of validations. There's the purely technical validations, and there are also timing or workflow validations, and we can help with those as well.
Good. Okay. Thank you, Troy. Next question from our audience. Expert input is often required to oversee AI. How should monitoring and cross-checks be performed?
Yes, that's definitely a great question. So we believe that you have to name some AI champions, so someone who can really help guide your pathologists with this new tech. And we can also run these types of like monthly or weekly discrepancy reviews, ensure that you have locked version control, and require readback and documentation when AI suggestions are overridden. So we believe that human in the loop is always needed. So ultimately, AI is assistive. So AI is not making the diagnosis and just signing it out. So there's always going to be oversight there, where there will be a pathologist or a cytotech who will be still at the driver's seat, ensuring that AI is guiding them in the right direction.
Okay, thank you. If I analyze one slide, can I review that same slide again after 30 days, or will all the information be erased?
Yeah, so our system currently today, by default, has a 30-day limit, and depending on the tests for things, like microbiology, that's often not even an issue because the tests are done by the 30 days. In fact, if you're taking 30 days to get back to your clients, then I think you got bigger issues. So just for normal case management, that's absolutely fine. For things like cervical cytology, it gets a bit more complex because while our platform does offer solutions for both medium and long-term storage, very often in various geographies, the requirements for keeping the slides, and usually they're talking about keeping the physical slides, make longer-term storage kind of a non-issue because they have to store them physically anyway. However, Our system does also include a feature that allows you to actually export and store with the final report the images that led to the analysis. So that so far has proven to be a very good compromise between the physical slide storage requirements of your particular country and maintaining some of the data that was used to make the initial diagnosis that went out if you ever need to consult with them after the 30 days. And our platform as well does include the full API integration with the LIS that makes that possible.
Okay, excellent, thank you. We have some really great questions here. We'll just take a few more. How could AI be adopted in laboratories with limited resources or low settings?
Yeah, this is a great question. In fact, we've even come out with several resources that address this very issue, because indeed we see that a lot of labs, they might say that they're too small to realize the benefits. However, what we notice is that smaller labs in certain cases can even feel the impact even more pronounced between the impact of staffing shortages or volume fluctuations or expertise or dealing with different locations, sign out times. Those are all factors that small laboratories feel even more than larger laboratories. And so the impact of AI does not at all just apply to larger laboratory settings, but also has a dramatic impact on smaller volume laboratories. And I would encourage, if you go to our website, we have a webinar that we just gave on that, and we've got a blog post that's going to be coming out this week, actually, on that very topic.
Okay, thank you. Next question. Could you elaborate on the quality control measures across the entire pipeline, H&E, staining, scanner, and AI?
Yes, sorry, I was on mute there. So it's very important to standardize QC across the entire pipeline, like you've mentioned, everything from the pre-analytical steps. So that's with, you know, the fixation, staining, to using stain normalization for guardrails there, as well as running scanner QC checks. So this is to ensure that there's no blurs, artifacts, color issues, and then monitor AI outputs for any drifts. So there can be variability at stain and scan time that can impact AI. So QC at every step really can pay off there. So it's very important, I think, even beyond the AI component, to make sure that there's good standardization across all the components that goes into making a digital slide.
Okay, thank you, Tiffany. We'll make this the last question because we're a little bit short of time. What lessons should we learn from the experiences of early adopters of AI in pathology?
Yes, that's definitely a great question and a great way to end. So we believe that leadership and change management matter as much as the tech. So really getting full leadership buy-in is absolutely crucial at the get-go. And to do that, again, it's like what we mentioned earlier with being able to show these like key use cases and case studies, as well as these key metrics like turnaround time, reduced headcount, really getting that leadership buy-in. Another one is to start narrow. You got to measure the ROI, and then you can scale up. And then I also want to emphasize that being standards first or interoperability first is very important to avoid lock-in. So that's using standards like DICOM for whole slide images, HL7, and FHIR messaging as well. And then really investing in training and champions, just ensuring that you have a pathologist champion as well as an administrative champion at your lab. And then to always ensure that you keep a human in the loop, so that this can also allow your staff and your pathologists to feel comfortable with this new implementation of technology.
Right, I said that was the last question. There's another one here. What level of concordance would be acceptable between glass slide cytology and AI digital slide review to ensure it is non-inferior?
Yes, so the typical CAP benchmark that labs will watch is around greater than 95% overall concordance between digital AI review and glass. But again, that really depends, again, on the type test and type of task. So for screening tasks like cytology, it can be different than a diagnostic task for, say, for histology. So we can work together with you to see what your lab is most comfortable with. But just in general, from what we've seen so far, it's around greater than 95% overall concordance.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to slip one more question in here, Tiffany. This will be our final question. How do labs design in-service validations and evaluations of an AI-assisted cytology system to ensure clinical non-inferiority with manual microscopy? Slightly different to the previous question, I think.
Yeah, I think we answered a variation of this question earlier, but basically it's to show that the algorithm performs no worse than manual screening. So again, you can design this in many different ways, but typical approach is having the comparison study where the same slides are read manually and then with AI assistance, obviously with a washout period in between. We can also help you guys design these types of studies for your own internal validation, but you definitely want to use a diverse set of cases with a diverse set of diagnoses. Set your own non-inferiority margin up front, and then you can compare that sensitivity and specificity there. So it's really going to be similar to any other lab validation that you may have, where you just really need to have representative cases and clear metrics. And then we want to show that the AI is at least equivalent to your current standard.
Okay, thanks. Okay, right. No more questions. We'll leave it there. I do appreciate you answering so many. We had a lot of questions come in today. And I do apologize to our audience if you did ask a question and we didn't handle it. We have tried to do as many as we can. So that brings us to the end of our session today. I want to thank again Dr. Tiffany Chen. Wonderful presentation. Thank you for handling all those questions. And also Troy Bankhead, thanks for your sterling help on the question panel there. Thank you. So to our audience, that concludes the webinar. Thank you for being here. Thanks again to our speakers, and we'll see you on the next Pathology News webinar. Thank you.
Bye-bye.